You can't beat the classics.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We got episode 12 of You Can't Beat the Classics podcast. George and Mike are sitting with me as usual. Bless you, Mike.
Thanks.
How are you two? How are you two on this fine day?
Oh,
Gray.
ecstatic and thrilled and all of the adjectives.
Yeah. So, all right, episode 12, and all right. So last episode we had to stumble on a movie from the year 2011. So what better way than to jump back on the Liam Neeson train than with 2011's The Grey, directed by Joe Carnahan, whoever that is, known for The Grey.
Also written by Joe Carnahan.
Yes, also written by him. Yeah. Well, it was about time we stumbled upon another one of Liam Neeson's post-Taken movies, I want to call it. So, all right. I feel like I don't need to ask this because this was probably you guys' first time watching The Grey.
I've seen it before.
Oh, yeah.
First time.
I hadn't seen it since it came out, in theaters, whenever. I think I probably saw it a couple of months, February, something like that. After that, I remember I was on a date and we went to go see The Grey. Her and I, yeah.
How did that date end?
Actually, pretty good. Actually, it wasn't bad. The movie we thought was fine, but. Yeah, watching it again. This was only the second time I had seen it, since then. All right, the big question I wanted to raise before we started talking about this one is: do you guys think that Liam Neeson is being typecasted to these kind of roles?
I think there was a money train, and Liam Neeson just was at every single station of the money train until the train stopped coming around. So, in long story, yes, I think he's being typecasted, but I think he's welcoming it because he's making money doing it.
I mean, yeah, he was definitely typecasted because even Seth MacFarlane made 2 movies where he made fun of Liam Neeson being a badass.
Yes, but A Million Ways to Die in the West, he was like, no, it's going to be funny. You keep your natural accent. So he had his natural accent in that movie just to make fun of him even more about how much of a badass he is.
So for me, he's definitely been taking the roles he's been taking since the Taken franchise. There's been very few that have been all right. I think most of them for me have been a miss for me. The Grey is one for me that's it's not a miss, but I mean it's I think it's one of his last decent movies that he starred in. For me, probably this movie and Unknown. Everything since then, I thought has been not good.
I will say I would never call this movie decent.
This movie was buns.
This movie was not good.
I'd never seen it, and I watched it twice because the first time I was like, I must have missed something. And then I watched it again, what was it, 2 days ago, Mike, when I texted you?
Yeah, when you texted me a half an hour before it finished, and you're like, oh my God.
I had to stop because I was laughing so hard, and I made a TikTok of it. That's how
you did, yeah.
I was so unimpressed by everything. Liam Neeson is a great actor, so obviously he did a good job. The writing was fucking dookie. The action was fucking lame. And how many stupid fucking one-liners were in this movie?
Yeah, and
oh my God,
everyone was a badass, and everyone had a point to prove, and everyone had a story. I was just like, oh my god.
The cast was amazing too. Like that's a
know.
really good cast, and
Dermot Mulroney.
they made them all seem so dumb. I don't know. Like I didn't care that any of them died. I didn't care that a
Well,
single one of them died. Even at
That's
the end.
that's one thing this movie does is like you don't care really about any of the characters.
No,
It's just a bunch of blue collar guys on a plane. I mean, we're getting into it, yeah, but like just a plane that crashes just full of nobodies.
Yeah, so apparently, like, the whole premise of this movie, I'm going to go over, like, literally beginning to end in, like, 48 seconds here. The whole premise of this movie is that they work in, like, an oil refinery or something like that up in Alaska or somewhere else in the middle of nowhere. And he's hired as, like, a protector of the people who are in the fields doing the work by killing wolves who are trying to attack them while they're doing work. And basically, like, he sets up the whole movie with, like, I've done so many bad things in my life. This is the only place where I'm accepted now. But then he's taking a plane out of there for some odd reason. Don't really understand. And the plane crashes, and then death. Movie that's like 3 hours. I could have done it in like 55 seconds.
It's like 2 hours of waiting for everyone to die.
Yeah. I have a theory about that, but when we get into it, I will get it more.
All right. Yeah.
Fucking movie was terrible. I waited 2.5 hours, or whatever the runtime is. Spoiler alert. I don't know why I looked to my right, like as if the audience was over here to my right. Spoiler alert.
Shout out to the Philippines. That's what George was looking at. He was looking towards their direction.
Bang bang. You get to the very end of the movie, and the only thing that keeps you in the movie is like, let's see the 1v1. Let's see the wolf versus Liam. And then you find out it's all of them versus Liam, and he's like breaking bottles and shit. He's ready to roll. I waited the entire movie for this specific moment, and it cut to black, and I was like,
yep.
Couldn't have been more pissed off, confused, and slightly like they. We'll get to it, but they spend so much time creating the dilemma right after, like from when the guy drowns to that moment where he realizes he's in the den, is about 10 minutes of straight build up to like some sort of internal conflict that I don't even know if he's moved past. To be honest, like it was like, I'm over it. I need a sign. I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got the sign. He was in the middle of the wolf den.
Yeah.
like
yeah, you're fucked. The whole end didn't make any fucking sense, and I was so mad that I went to YouTube and typed in animals in films, The Gray. And there's a YouTube video of a guy breaking down how the entire movie is unrealistic because wolves don't hunt the way that they hunted. And I was like, oh, well, there we go.
You're ruining my take.
I'll go back on you.
Hold on. So before we go into it, like from beginning to end, so I don't know if this is good, but let's watch the trailer for The Gray.
This ought to be lovely.
See what we got to work with here.
A job at the end of the world. I work security, protecting men from the
audio's
There's not a second goes by when I'm not thinking of you in some way.
That's full volume too.
Yeah, that plane looks safe. Don't fly Spirit.
No, these are the problems JetBlue's having right now.
We need a fire. Then we find food. If we don't move and work now, we'll all freeze to death.
Somebody will find us. They gotta know that plane went off the radar.
Nobody's gonna find us. Not here. We figure out what way is south, and we start walking.
This will be one of those wild stories you tell at a party.
Listen, get up, get up.
Don't move. Just right back at them. If we can get to that tree line, we can better defend ourselves. Go! Hold on!
You gotta be kidding me.
We can climb down.
If we follow the river, we got a better chance of finding shelter. How are we gonna deal with this?
We take them on, one at a time. I want to see your face. Feel your hands in mine.
Spoiler alert, that's the ending.
Yeah. You don't even get to see it.
All right.
Bullshit.
I
Oh
have a couple
man.
things from the beginning of that trailer, which is the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Number one, motherfucker falls asleep on a plane, and then is shook into wakeness, laying in the middle of nowhere, covered in snow. You just telling me that this guy crashed in a plane and just like is 150 feet away from the plane, laying in snow, totally fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Why?
It doesn't seem unrealistic to you that like he
In
just
all
like, found his way
fairness-
out of a seat, fell out of the plane, landed in the snow, and everything's okay.
Do you not remember the crash? He was probably legit the safest one there. He strapped himself the fuck into that chair.
Yeah, then how did he end up
Yeah.
out of it in the middle of a freaking snowfield?
He wasn't. He woke up in the chair.
No,
That-
he didn't. He was
No,
laying on the ground.
the chair probably added some support when he hit the ground.
I don't know. They all die in real life. There isn't 12 people walking away from that fucking plane
Right,
crash.
so that's kind of what I
Yeah.
was getting to. This movie, the first time I watched it, when I got to the end, I realized something. This is a lost scenario. Everyone in this situation is already dead, and when they come to terms with it, they start getting picked off by the wolves.
Hmm.
And
Hey,
so,
he
like,
makes-
you can
he
see,
makes-
like, as people start to remember like their kids and fond memories, they get sicker and sicker, and then the wolves pick them off.
Hmm.
that
So-
doesn't make the movie better.
No, it doesn't make
No.
the movie better, but like everyone is already dead, and as they come to realize that they're dead, their characters are like, well, I'm not trudging anymore because I'm already dead. Like I've come to accept it. Like this is my fate. I'm already dead, and like you can see that because we'll go over the deaths later on, but like every death has like a moment of like clarity for the person, and then all of a sudden they're gone. And the only reason why Liam Neeson is the last one alive is because he's the only one that hasn't come to terms with what he went through with his life. So he's still fighting all the way until the end. He never got over his personal struggle, therefore he's still fighting it. And that's the only reason why he's still alive at the end.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not a bad take. Not a bad take. Still wasted 4 hours of my life watching this fucking movie twice. I couldn't fucking believe that they're on the plane, and I googled this and I couldn't get a definitive answer. You can see your breath on the plane. Who the fuck lives in that cold of weather?
Yeah. Well, that's we'll get to the plane. All right. So, yeah. So apparently this takes place in Alaska, and the first thing that happens is he just walks into some bar, which I was like, what the hell kind of bar is this? I'm like, these are just bars in Alaska, very well lit, very, very lively, you know. And like he's having thoughts about some girl he was with that was not Lenore. That was some other lady.
It felt like a Punisher situation. Like the
Kind
whole time
of.
I watched that, I kept thinking of the Punisher, and I knew immediately. I was like, "This bitch is dead. Bitch is already dead. No
Yeah.
shot. She's alive. No shot."
Yeah. So that kind of leads to him like almost wanting to kill himself, like at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. This movie, it's just
There was
so
just.
hard.
Can we agree? I know John likes this movie.
It's all right.
There's just too
That's
much
awesome.
going on. There's just too much going on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they go from that scene to like showing him in the field and he kills a wolf. And
Yeah.
everyone-
So apparently he snipes wolves or shoots just that try to attack people that are trying to work.
like the idea behind the movie after you watch it play out is that you're supposed to care about the group of guys, but
I don't give a shit about the.
it's like centrally
Yep.
focused on Liam Neeson, and it's like it just doesn't work. Like, the
Yeah.
whole storyline
Yeah.
feels like, okay, you're supposed to care about 12 guys, but here, just keep looking at all these flashbacks of this one guy, and it starts in the beginning where I just don't care.
I
just
feel
don't
like
care.
nothing was established in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah, like
There was supposed to be like like mystery things going on, like who's this woman? What's he doing here? It's like, bitch, I want wolves. I want to see the wolves. I don't care about what you're doing to me because it doesn't make any fucking sense. I didn't
well, let's
care.
start with the wolves then. So, say you're in the middle of an Alaskan wilderness and you just crash and you're playing. The last thing that wolves are going to do is travel 15 miles to go to like what seemed like could have been more, could have been less. I don't know. To go investigate this crashed plane. Because the whole time these guys are hiking through the wilderness to try and find civilization, and they end up in the wolf den. And this is
Mhm.
like 5 days later. You're trying to tell me that these wolves traveled that far to stalk this group of guys just for them to like hike down and end up in the wolf den? It doesn't make any sense.
That's true.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, literally, they were the way they explained wolves. The wolf behavior in this movie seemed odd.
Like the
Like,
guy
no-
never even read Three Little Pigs. It's
Like none of us are animal experts here, but I thought it was weird.
Yeah, I think it was funny. He was like, they're sitting around a fire and one of them gets attacked by a wolf and he's like, was that the alpha? And he's like, no, that was a rogue. The rogue who didn't listen to the alpha came out and he was testing us. And I was like,
Yeah.
no. What was that?
So, well, one of the things I don't understand is like one of it is to your point, Mike. He feels like he has a life here, and it's like, despite like this woman in his life being dead or whatever, like it seems like this is all he knows, and you don't get an explanation as to why he's getting on this plane, going wherever he's going.
Yeah.
It looks like they're going to. It looks like they're going to. They're not even going that far. They're going to another part of Alaska.
Yeah. And like the wild part about this whole thing, to go back to George's point too originally, like they want you to care at least about one character, but they want you to care about the whole group. But they don't give you a reason to care. Right? So like he has no life. This is the only place where his set of skills is acceptable. He's done bad things in his life. Well, like, why do I care about you then? Like, what's the point? Like, you're literally just a piece of shit who's gonna die. I
This
don't
movie
care.
could have been 10 hours long and I wouldn't have cared about any of them.
Yep.
It's true though. They like all the touching, moving parts. Like it felt like Lord of the Flies, which is fine in the beginning,
Mm.
Yeah.
and then like I mean, not to keep bouncing around, but like as members of the group started getting picked off, it's like, well, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what
And
are we
then,
doing
like,
here?
And then what they do is like they start off the movie with like everyone here is a convict, everyone here has a past, and then like as they go through the movie, they're like, but he has a daughter and he loves her,
Mhm.
and you're like, I don't like what the hell, like I don't care at this point. Like you're way past that. This guy is supposed to be like a hardened criminal who doesn't give a shit about anything, but like now we're gonna bring in this little piece of humanity to make you feel bad, and then
Yeah.
he's gonna die immediately.
Yeah.
You know what movie did a really good job of that we don't talk about because for some reason it's like not well liked in Hollywood? The movie Takers does a really good job
Oh,
of giving
I've
you
never seen
criminals that like you fall in love with all of them and like you care about what's going on. Well, a more well-known one, I guess, would be Ocean's 11. Right? They're
Yeah, I was gonna
criminals.
say
You care
No.
about them.
Oceans or Gone in 60 Seconds.
But like, Gone in 60 Seconds is a good one. But Takers is one where like they're all disgusting human beings robbing banks, right? And you care about all their individual stories, even though Idris Elba and Paul Walker are the main characters. You still care about the side ones like Chris Brown, T.I. You care about all of them and whether or not they live or die. Here, they did kind of the same thing, except you don't give a flying fuck about any of them.
I feel like this movie is just a regurgitation of like 6 different things, and it's just not a very poor. It's not a very good regurgitation.
I feel like it's not the fault of the cast they put with this movie too.
Phenomenal.
The acting in this movie is not bad, but I think even if you replace some of these characters with like more notable names, like another Liam Neeson like type name or something like that, you still wouldn't really care that much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't Frank Grillo in this movie?
Yes.
Wasn't he John? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a pretty big name.
Yeah, I think this was before the Winter Soldier came out.
Yeah,
It was, but
Yeah.
Mulroney's in here.
he was in The Purge. I mean, you have some pretty decent actors in here.
Yeah.
You know, Dermot Mulroney. I don't know how
Dude,
to pronounce his name, but
dude,
he's a
there
big
was-
name.
There was one guy I thought that was. I swear there's one guy that was sitting next to. I think it was the guy that was sitting next to him on the plane at first. I thought, is that Alexander Skarsgård?
Oh, Joe Anderson. Yeah.
It kind of looked like him, and I was like, no, that's not him.
Oh, well, get back on track. The plane. What plane ride have you ever been on where people talk like that and like act like it's, you know, romper room or whatever on the plane?
Well,
I've never been on a plane where people talk like that.
Another thing too is like they knew a storm was coming, and they still took off. Like this is like not like this is Alaska. Like if you found out about if air traffic control up there found out about a storm, like serious storm, like they would not let these planes take off.
I mean, I'll be honest. I tried to fly in a snowstorm in February, and they wouldn't let our plane take off because the computers were frozen, and they couldn't boot them up. And you're trying to tell me that like this plane had like 3.5 feet of snow on it, and
They
they
were
just sprayed some
scraping
de-ice on it?
off. Yeah, the front.
and then it
Like
was
a
just all set to
driveway.
go. No.
Dude, I fully sympathize with we have to call Liam by his character, Otway, in the fact that he's like according to Amazon it's Ottman.
It's Ottman, yeah.
No,
That's how much Amazon cares about this movie, is that they don't even get the character names right in the bio.
Like it's definitely Otway. But like he's like oh, I don't want to talk to anybody on the plane.
Yeah, but like no one, if you've ever flown, no passenger acts the way that all those passengers did. Everyone sits there, they shut the fuck up. They may be talking to people in their row. They're not standing up screaming to people 5 rows in front of them. I knew people on a flight when we went to Miami all throughout the plane. I didn't fucking stand up and scream, "Hey, bruh! Hey, bruh!"
Yeah, dude. I feel like the air marshal would have put one of these guys down as soon as they started causing all this shit
Yeah,
they
then
were
you got
doing.
one guy talking about like the statistics of plane crashes, and it's just like,
Flannery.
Yeah.
He would have got tuned up in a heartbeat.
Dude, the plane's trajectory didn't even match where they were going. Dude, they said they were going to Anchorage, but I paused and I looked at where they were going. They were like the trajectory was like to like California or something. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's very little redeeming about this movie aside from the fact that the avionics are also not very good.
Yeah, well, once that plane started freezing, that was like, yeah, this thing never should have took off.
Yeah.
See, like Mike said before, like I don't like directors that have the first line credits on screenplays. I usually lean towards those movies a little more because it's usually better.
Yeah,
like I think
they're directing in their own vision, right?
Right, but like this one was terrible.
So like in this circumstance, maybe you're right. I don't know. I know a lot of movies that are directed by the same person who at least had a hand in writing it, but this one here just needed another set of eyes to be like, yeah, this kind of sucks.
He needed a better like assistant director or something. Like there was no assistant director. It was just
There was a co-writer.
yeah.
Well, apparently this was based off of a short story called Ghostwalker, which I had never heard of, but
Oh,
the
you mean that
other
they're
but
already dead and they come to realization that they're dead and then they get eaten by wolves?
yeah, so the author of that was the other writer for this movie.
Should have stayed a short story. Should have never been a movie.
Yeah. I will say though, this plane crash sequence not bad. I thought the plane crash was actually pretty good.
Like I said, aside from the fact that he's lying 150 feet away from the plane completely unharmed, he got thrown from a plane when it hit the ground and he's completely unharmed. No.
Oh, I guess it's a pretty well-known theory that the Gray, they're in purgatory. Because I just googled Ghostwalker to see what was going on. Yeah, so I guess it's a pretty well-known theory that the Gray is based off being in purgatory, and as they realize that they're dead, they die.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So like the movie
That's
makes
deep.
more
That's
sense to do
deep.
it that way. And it, like you said, like I said, if you think about every
Did a
death,
fucking piss poor job showing it.
right, they did a piss poor job showing it. But if you think about every death, every character that succumbs to the wolves has a moment of clarity. Like the guy who got his foot stuck under the water and drowned, he had just talked about to Otway about what he was doing when he left the bar and what his plans were. And he's like, I've only ever seen two looks on a man like that. And his moment of clarity was making John face the fact that he was contemplating suicide, and like the fact that he hadn't given up yet. And then once he had that moment of clarity and talked to him about it, boom, he died. And then Diaz was like, nah, man, like I'm done. Like my moment of clarity is that I'm just done. And he just sits on a log, and then a wolf comes and like it's not even like gruesome, it's not even like violent. The wolf just comes and takes him. Because he like willingly succumbed to it. It didn't have to be violent.
Trash.
So like yeah, it was depicted really poorly. And when you watch it and you think of it in that way, you're like, okay, this movie makes a little more sense, but it's still just like not a very entertaining movie.
It does make more sense.
Yeah.
They still could have given them all motives as to why they were going to Anchorage. You could have done a better job of like portraying the fact that these people were human. Like you didn't humanize any of them.
No.
To me, they were all just sacks of meat.
Yeah, literally, they were just meals for the wolves. That's all they were.
Yeah. Well, also that thought kind of explains too that this is probably not the way wolves would behave.
Right. This is purgatory.
The wolves, yeah, the wolves are there to send them on their way.
Like, wouldn't it have made more sense to change it a bit for Hollywood? Because that's what Hollywood does, right? And instead of everyone having their moment of clarity, like you just make one of them the shepherd or something like that to like herd them all in and like keep them going. Because that's kind of how Liam Neeson's character felt. Like, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. Like, he didn't seem like the desperate guy who wasn't ready to die yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you made with the wife and everything, you kind of in the letter, you didn't pivot it and set it up as like he's a desperate guy clinging to life, which is I assume what they were going for.
Yeah.
Right now that I know, but like instead of making him seem like he's clinging to life, you made it seem like no, I'm gonna help you guys. We're gonna get through this. Like no, make him
so
desperate.
Like when you look at it at the end, right? So like he's in purgatory, and then I mean I'm kind of skipping forward here. So like he's at the end and he's made his way to the wolf's den. And like he's still fighting, like he hasn't succumbed to it. He hasn't accepted his death yet, and you're just like there's no way he survives this, right? Because there's way too many wolves, and he's still fighting, and it kind of makes you want to be like, I wish he pulled the Diaz. In my opinion, I wish they showed him just sitting there on the wolf's den, and then the wolf comes up and just sits across from him, and then he's just sitting there, and they're both staring at each other, and then black. That to me
That would have
been
better.
so much better than him putting the things in his hands and having the wallets out and seeing like everyone's memories and all their stories through their wallets.
But that's why it's confusing, though, isn't it? Because the wallets, like, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. The 10 minutes between when that guy drowns, so when he knuckles up and gets ready, it's very confusing as to, like, okay,
Yeah.
is he struggling or is he accepting that he's probably gonna die? Like,
Yeah, like if it were me, the whole ending sequence would have been like every cut would have been him pulling out a different wallet and like seeing like the guy's daughter and pulling out another wallet and seeing something else and then all of a sudden he looks up and he's in the wolf den. Like I said, he's just like on his knees pleading, and then the wolf just comes and sits across from him, not growling, not doing anything, just sits across from him, and then boom, dark, and then it's over.
or like even as they die, the pack of wolves gets bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like just some sort of metaphor or simile.
Yeah, or like a pack of wolves that has like the scar that Diaz got when he got attacked on the shoulder, something like that, to like to show them that like, they're part of the pack now. Yeah,
can we talk about who was the guy that died? I know we're gonna skip, but like
all of them.
Are you talking about the black guy that got pneumonia or whatever?
No. The guy that was afraid of heights, and then the rope broke, and he smashed the tree.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Woof, bro. I cringed, and then when the daughter's hair was flowing over his face, bro, I knew he could eat at that point. I was like, oh, that was the only time I felt anything outside. Just because, like, thinking of if that was me.
Yeah, like you fell halfway down a tree and then cracked both of your ankles, and then this wolf just drags you into nowhere.
Oh man, yeah. Dude, these guys had some bad deaths. These wolves.
Yeah.
These wolves chewed them up. But one thing I was thinking of as you guys are talking about this is that like they kind of paint that, but they don't really like all of what you guys saying. Like they make the alpha like a totally different color than the rest of the wolves.
Yeah.
So which probably happens in nature. But like I literally just looked up wolf alpha, and like not many of them are like
black
like black like that. So like it kind of makes it to the point where it would have been a more solid ending if the alpha was just like sitting in front of him instead of a fight between the alpha and Liam Neeson. Would that have been better?
To me, if you do it that way, it literally it makes you feel like the way it was intended to be received by the writers, in my opinion. So, like, I think the way that they left it was open for interpretation. But if you, like, show that the wolf and Liam's character, John, are in agreement that it's the end of the road and there's no violence and there's no drama and it just ends, like, people are like, oh, he's accepted his death and now like, he's able to move on. And that's it. I feel like that's way more direct. I don't know. I'd like to see if there was alternate endings, or if the whole time they were just like, nah, he's gonna go down fighting. Because to me, that just didn't make any sense. It just didn't.
Remember in Saving Private Ryan when Matt Damon talked to Tom Hanks in the church, and they had that like come to Jesus moment, I guess, where like, oh my family's dead. Like, I feel like they tried to have that 2 or 3 times in this movie, and it just never stuck. It just never stuck.
It was more like the Vin Diesel moment where he was giving away the position of his team.
Yeah, like the more I like got into this movie, the more I was just like, man, give me $200 million and I could make $1 billion.
Is that the budget? Don't even tell me that's the budget.
I have no idea.
The budget was the budget was $25 million.
Give me $25 million, I could make a better movie.
Yeah.
Opening weekend only made $19.6 gross U.S. and Canada, 51 gross worldwide, 80 mil. So it tripled. It more than tripled what it cost to make. But like,
that could have been $1 billion movie.
Yeah. Apparently, there's some controversy here with the way they portrayed the wolves.
There's a ton of controversy.
Like PETA got involved in everything.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Save the sea cucumbers.
I like this movie. Like, wasn't, if you're bored and you have time to kill, this movie's not a terrible movie to watch. But
yeah, you just gotta think of it in a different way. If you think of it like, so like the first time I watched it, I had no experience for it, and then I was like, I don't know. And then this time I watched it, I had the understanding that, like, going into it, that they were already dead. When you watch it from that perspective, each character becomes more meaningful because their step into out of purgatory and into death is more meaningful because they have, like I said, a come to Jesus realization moment before they die, which pushes the story, but it still doesn't do it in a very good way.
Oh, George, it says the director says he had an alternate ending he never intended to use, showing Neeson battling the Alpha. It was supposed to be included in the deleted scenes. However, no extras were included on the Blu-ray.
Oh,
What a pussy.
Come
What a pussy.
on, man. But yeah, that would have been cool to see him. If you're gonna show the fight with the Alpha, show it.
If you're gonna film it, you put it on the DVD commentary, baby.
That too.
Just like Robert Downey said, I don't cut character to the DVD commentary. You fucking put it on there. Also, by the way, side note, Tropic Thunder, greatest DVD commentary of all time.
yeah.
If you want to watch a funny movie, watch Tropic Thunder with the DVD commentary on. You won't regret it. It's worth the $15 on fucking Amazon Prime. But no, this movie legit was bad. The director fucked up. He was not paying attention. I don't know what like they had the test audience, right? Trash test audience. If he didn't take any of the suggestions, trash on him. This movie, start to finish, is littered with plot holes.
Oh,
And like,
wait.
I don't know.
There's a post credit scene. I didn't even watch. There is.
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like
Amazon.
I feel like this is not true.
I'm watching the deleted scene of him fighting the wolf.
Is it good?
Really?
So basically, it's like behind the scene pictures and like storyboard drawings of what happens during the fight.
Nah, I don't need to see that.
Basically, him and the wolf are lying dead on top of each other.
That's whack. That's whack as fuck. I'd be so pissed.
Oh, that's it. All right, yeah, I just pulled it up. That's not even worth showing.
How cool would it have been though if I feel like now that I have the point of view of the purgatory thing, if they could have just pivoted that a little better and added like another character who just never died and was like a constant,
Who was like the god?
or like the person, like an NPC who just didn't nothing phased them.
If they just have like Morgan Freeman there and he's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I think we should go with this.
Literally, you could have put one more character in, let them just follow Neeson the whole time, because obviously the movie was revolving around Neeson. If you just leave that one character in to the very end, and then they're both in the den, it saves the movie. And then, like you said, now you have the wolf sitting in front of Neeson. You have like the shepherd or whatever,
Who
NPC,
led him to it?
sitting right next to him, calm as a cucumber, and then you have Neeson just staring at the wolf.
Boom.
Then
done.
it's like, oh fuck, what do you do? It's not a man versus nature story anymore. It's man versus God.
Yeah.
I think because like I walked away and that went completely over my head, and I saw it twice in a week. Went completely over my head. Didn't even think of that. The whole time I was just like, this is the worst man versus nature movie I've ever seen. Like I was almost, I've never seen, what's the Leo movie where he fights the bear? Like
Revenant.
The Revenant.
Yeah, I was like, man, low bar to beat. Like the Revenant's probably not that good.
The Revenant is fantastic.
I've never seen
probably a better version of this, and that came out like a few years after.
Yeah, except for the fact that like the storyline's really different, and basically like Leo, basically, everyone knows about the bear attack, whatever. But basically, like he's on a revenge path after that, and then it becomes amazing.
Ah, okay.
This was
maybe the Revenant was probably like, all right, we saw the Gray, let's make it better. Let's make it way better.
I don't know, The Revenant I've seen a few times, and every time I watch it, I feel like I see something new, which is like one of those movies. It's like I don't know. This movie
That's
is
Benicio
like,
del Toro, right? He directed
yeah,
that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's definitely worth a watch. I mean, Leo's first Oscar, and it has to be something big because he didn't get one for Titanic. So could you imagine?
He didn't even get nominated for Titanic.
That's what I'm saying. So like this movie had to be something special for him to get his first, right? And then the whole speech. I'm going off on a tangent here, but Leo dedicated his speech to like raising awareness for climate change instead of just being like, "Thank everyone."
I
which
know
thought was
that.
pretty
I
wild.
remember watching that. That was cringe as fuck.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
But like,
Anyway.
no, The Gray was fine if you turn your mind off. But if you were like actually sitting there watching, like the plot holes are so glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
They don't do a good job of showing what they're trying to portray. And to be
Like-
honest, the director sucked.
Yeah, I mean, at least there was no beating around the bush for. I mean, at least the point where all these guys were going to die, you knew it was going to happen,
Yeah.
but you didn't feel.
How dark was the movie though? Like I had to change my TV settings.
Yeah.
Couldn't see.
Yeah,
And I have a feeling like if you take it from me, right? Like take it from like the plane crash. If they somehow like a radio survives the plane crash and they're like, we're coming out to help you, but we're 6 days out, and then like the group of people never moves, but they like try and bunker in and protect themselves, and the wolves pick them off one by one, but they have like the come to Jesus moment before that happens. Way more believable to me because wolves wouldn't track down people for like 40 miles or whatever they end up walking. Like so like if they're like, hey, we're gonna come save you, we just have to hold off for 6 days or something like that. And then they never leave the plane, and they're trying to build like temporary shelters, but the wolves keep finding ways to get in. It becomes better to me, just because it's more believable. I don't know. I have a hard time. Oh, this plane, like some jackass who's like in this group was like, oh no, the transmitter's not responding. How'd you know? The black box is literally designed for plane crashes. Are you trying to tell me that this one didn't have one or it wasn't working? I don't know.
The movie just they could have done a better job. It didn't have to be a plane crash. It didn't have to be so remote. I guess it could have been something where like you said, there's an end in sight. We just need to get to point A.
Yeah.
It tried to do too many different elements, and honestly, it got confusing.
Yeah, I honestly, like, watching it the second time, even with my understanding, I still had no interest to watch this movie. And I think that's a problem. Like, a movie like this, that they want you to care about people, they need to suck you in so you get involved, right? No, I didn't have any of it.
Just saying they have kids doesn't mean I want them to live.
Exactly. Like, oh, he's human.
If they all have kids, then they're all equally as useless to me. Like, you know what I'm saying though? Like, if all colors look the same, then what the fuck is the difference if you get rid of one?
That's
so
true.
it's like, well, come on, man. They all need to be different. They all need to be unique. And when the plane crashed, they should have had like a bro night where they just chatted with each other and you gave a shit about something. Instead, it was just like as soon as the plane crashed, people started dying, and the whole death thing, like, just too much, man. It didn't need to be as cluttered as it was, and it didn't need to be as so convoluted. Like, if the whole point is they're in purgatory, so lean into that. Like, oh my God, Taken 3. Like, it was just, man.
Instead, they got to get them wallets. That's what they're trying.
Oh, I know.
I thought that was cool.
Okay, so yeah, you think that's cool. You know what I thought was stupid? Diaz goes to start taking people's wallets, and then he's like, no, put them back. Don't take the wallets. And then all of a sudden the next day he's like, grab the wallets. We're leaving. Like, what?
He's like, yeah, we're not gonna loot these bodies, and it's just like, homie, shut
Actually,
the fuck
guys,
up.
we're gonna loot the bodies.
But like the whole time,
Now that we gotta go loot the bodies.
yeah, the whole time it was pretty unchallenged that Liam Neeson was the leader, right? Like that one guy tried to challenge him by whipping his cock out and being like, "Who the fuck are you?" But like no one
Dude, that one guy that was like guarding like when they were sleeping at the plane, dude, he got destroyed by those wolves.
Yeah.
They woke up, his body was unrecognizable.
Yeah. So it's
He put the double team on that dude, those wolves.
the part where they're in the woods and Diaz fights John Atway, and like he puts him on the ground, and then the wolf comes and grabs him by the shoulder,
Yeah.
and then Diaz is like, "What do they want?" And he was like, "You." And I was like, "Oh God, this is so oh my God, it's so dumb." I don't know.
Terrible writing, terrible directing, and to be honest, like I didn't even think the CG was that good. It was all right. But...
So to me, I thought the scariest part of the movie is when they have the torch lit and they're looking into the darkness, and all you see is the glowing eyes. I don't need to see the wolf. I don't need to see the gore. I just need to know it happened, because then like my mind can fill in the blanks, right? But like just seeing like glowing eyes in the background and random scenes would have been great. And then not seeing the wolves, but like just seeing a spot where someone used to be would have made this movie 100 times better. Because I don't care about the CG. I don't care what the wolves look like. And knowing like the point of view that you should have on this now that they're in purgatory, it's just like looking over and be like, oh my God, where's Frank?
Yeah.
You know, would have been so much better. Like you see the glowing eyes following them everywhere, but then all of a sudden you look like as they're marching and one dude's just not in line anymore.
I want to know who said this was good enough to be released, because this movie sucked.
Maybe he self-funded it. I don't know.
No, this was Fox, wasn't it?
No, it was like Open Road or something.
It's always a weird. Liam Neeson's movies always have like a weird studio nobody's ever heard of. Like every movie he's done since then. Yeah, this dude does not have a lot under his belt. Oh, he actually did Cop Shop last year. I haven't seen that, but I didn't hear too many bad things about it. Dude, he did the third Bad Boys. Oh no, he didn't direct it.
No, yeah, he was probably a writer.
He got a writing credit on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is. I don't know, but I mean, it's
the best review it got on IMDb was a 7 out of 10 out of 1,000. Yeah. Oh no, there's an 8. There's an 8 in there.
I don't know. IMDb rating is 6.8. That the user rating? I don't know.
Just a lot of I don't know. Like you said, George, just convoluted. Like there was that one time when they were sitting by that fire, and then the wolf just randomly attacks Diaz. Like, dude, that wouldn't have happened. Like this.
No.
Dude, one wolf is not going to charge.
Right.
Might as well have been a Yeti.
6 guys.
Yeah.
Could have been
they're pack animals,
been
right?
A bear.
So.
A bear.
Yeah.
I think bears would have been cooler, to be honest. If we're gonna be honest, like I mean,
yeah,
I think a bear hunting them would have A, made more sense, and B, been a little cooler. The fucking wolves.
I don't know. There are much better wolf movies out there. I feel like Teen Wolf.
Balto.
Balto.
Balto was a better movie.
Homeward Bound.
What is it? What's the Iditarod movie? Iron.
Oh, Eight Below.
It.
Is that Paul Walker?
No, that's. It might have been. I thought. Yeah, it was.
I think Eight Below is Paul Walker.
That's fucking R.I.P. I don't know. Oh, movie was trash. I paid $7 to watch it twice.
That's
rough.
rough.
The worst part about it.
I would never, ever in my wildest dreams ever want to watch this movie again because of how terrible. Even like the attacks, the cinematography was terrible.
All right, so
yeah, go ahead.
Imagine this, George. So this is one of Liam Neeson's post-Taken movies, and like I think this is one of the more decent ones. So does that make you want to watch all of the other ones that are not good?
I think this one was very close to being a good movie. It just like the parts it biffed hard, right? Like the premise is fine. The actors were great. I thought the cast is actually low key tremendous, especially for the time. The cinematography was horrible. Whoever watched this in the cutting room floor and was like, "Man, we should make it darker." Like, come on, bro. Like, in a movie theater, I'd never be able to see half this shit.
Yeah, I know.
Like the stuff at night, I get it's supposed to be tough to see, but bro, half of it is around a blazing bonfire. These weren't small fires; they were 8-man fires, and like you couldn't see a fucking thing.
Yeah. As soon as you got to the character's shoulders, you saw nothing.
Yeah, so it was like, man, what are we fucking doing? Like this director sucked. The writing tried to be so clever and keep you guessing until the very end. Terrible. Like, because at the very end, it went over my fucking head, and I watch movies every day. Like, I completely went over my head. I would never, if you're sitting at home and you're like, man, I want to watch a Liam Neeson movie, this is probably towards the bottom of your list. You don't need to see it. I could think of not 100, but like at least 10 other Liam Neeson movies I'd rather watch. One of them being Ted. Much rather watch Ted than this stupid fucking movie.
A Million Ways to Die in the West. That was literally on TV the other day, and I put it on.
Yeah, dude, I'd rather watch. Liam Neeson is funny, and more people need to let him be funny instead of serious.
Yeah, I agree.
He can be funny. That's
I think
true.
Liam Neeson's fucking hilarious, but like these movies, he did Taken very well. There's no reason why he should be in any more.
Yeah, this character doesn't need to keep getting recasted because he's done it. He's perfected it.
He's fine. The projects are terrible.
Yeah, exactly. He just needs to stop saying yes to movies. Is what you're saying.
He's great. These fucking projects blow donkey dick. Like Taken 3 was probably competitive with this movie. Like at least Taken 3, I had a vested interest because I saw 2 and 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like this one wasn't. It just if you want to shut your mind off and it's on TV, it's not a terrible watch. But I wouldn't pay for this movie again.
Yeah.
No, this will probably be the last time I see this movie.
Yeah, it just like it doesn't age well. And to be honest, like we came up with 4 or 5 different scenarios where it would have played out better. This director should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah.
You wasted Liam Neeson on a good project too.
Something that could have been great.
Something that probably could have been Oscar worthy. You fucking blew it.
And they had $25 million, which is crazy to me.
Give me $24 million and I could have made a better movie.
Give me $10 million and like all.
I don't know where all the money went either, because the only one at the time who was a big star was Neeson. So like I don't know where the money went. Like
Frank Grillo wasn't a big name just yet.
No, The Purge hadn't come out. Like
and if you think about it, they had like this bar in the middle of nowhere. They had a plane crash in the middle of a snowy field, and then it was literally just them in the woods.
Yeah.
Where did all this? They weren't spending it on sets, and they weren't spending it on location. So where did they spend this money?
I mean, unless that was a $10 million plane crash.
Well, no, so that's what I'm saying. Maybe the director, maybe the writer. He's like, okay, we got $25 million budget. 20 of that's for me.
Yeah.
And then $5 million for me.
Do they have real wolves that they bought?
I mean, I don't know what housing costs in Alaska, but if they shot on site, maybe a lot of it went to that. Like, I'm telling you,
extra insulated trailers.
This movie sucked. This movie was terrible.
This film was shot in 40 days. This says.
How do you?
And it cost them $25 million.
Yeah, I'll take how to spend $25 million in a month.
That's like
Christ, dude.
a little under $1 million a day. Suck my ass. That director got paid, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Suck my ass, bro.
He did the
$25 million
for me, one for you, 10
oh,
for me.
$25 million.
Oh, here's an interesting thing, dude.
And they shot it in a month.
The film initially imagined a much younger lead character who would have starred. Listen to this. Who would have been Bradley Cooper?
Oh no. So here's the question though.
But was eventually replaced by Liam Neeson.
So did Liam Neeson say yes, or did Bradley Cooper say no?
Probably Cooper said no.
I bet you Bradley Cooper said no.
If you
I'm
read the
not doing
script and
that.
you're like, I really don't like the way this is going, Bradley Cooper's best decision would be saying no.
Wait,
Because if you think of when this movie came out and what else he had come after that, how would this movie have shaped his career?
so wait. This was supposed to go to Bradley Cooper?
Apparently.
Oh, well, he did Limitless and The Hangover Part 2 in 2011. So, yeah, no shot.
He's like,
Yeah, no, Limitless, fantastic movie.
He did, well, here you go. Leading up to it, he did The Hangover. He did The A-Team. He did that terrible Valentine's Day movie.
no, I'm going to go do a little something called Guardians of the Galaxy. See you later.
Yeah, seriously.
When was Guardians of the Galaxy? That was like 2014.
2014. It was a few years after, but I'm sure they probably took a little while to make it.
2011, though, he did Limitless, The Hangover Part 2, and then he went right into Silver Linings Playbook, The Hangover Part 3, American Hustle, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. This bro, he did not need this piece of shit $25 million movie.
That's what I'm saying. He definitely said no to this, right? Like, we can come to the consensus that he didn't even get either he got offered it first, he said no, or Liam Neeson just said yes before they gave it to him.
Yeah.
He was still riding The Wedding Crashers, Hangover, Failure to Launch.
I mean, Bradley, could you imagine if Bradley Cooper took this and then, let's just say, Disney looks at him for, Rocket, and they're like, nah. look at the how shitty this is.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, imagine. Oh, but you know who also directed, what probably also led to Liam Neeson being cast? Is the same director did this exact same director did the A-Team.
So Liam
Bradley
Neeson
Cooper
was
was
like, I
in
want to work with
A-Team.
him again.
That's probably why Bradley Cooper was in talks for The Grey.
I will say though, I was not a huge fan of the A-Team remake. I was not a big fan of that.
You're an asshole then.
I never saw it. I have no idea.
But Joe Carnahan wasn't the main writer for the A-Team. Hence probably why the A-Team was really good.
Also true. Yeah,
you didn't like the A-Team. The A-Team was so awesome.
I wasn't in love. I mean, I watched it. It's like a guilty pleasure. I didn't think it was that great.
That's such a mindless, it's like a Michael Bay movie with a plot. I thought that movie was... It didn't deserve a sequel, but it was fine standalone.
Yeah.
I know they tried to make a sequel, and Bradley Cooper told them all to eat shit.
But...
Yeah,
all right, so...
Smoking Aces, too. Holy smokes.
Director blows donkey balls.
And then he never did another more relevant movie ever again.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so yeah, we're we're kind of winding down towards the end here. So I gotta ask you guys, as usual, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best possibly could be, 1 being absolute diarrhea. What would you give The Grey?
George?
Sorry, I'm just checking out the director's cinematography.
I'll go first there. Then out of 10, I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm probably being a little nicer than you guys, but honestly, I do think this is one of Liam Neeson's probably better movies, in the last a little more than a decade.
The movie, you're not grading Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson is fine.
Yeah, he's great.
in this, but yeah, usually in the movies he's been doing, he's not too bad. He's not like Oscar worthy, but
I thought this could have been Oscar worthy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with The Grey. It's not a terrible movie, but its rewatch value is not there.
I'm giving it a 4. I think this movie was ass. It had the potential to be really, really fucking good. The director dropped the ball. The director was also the writer. He dropped the ball. And I think that, to John's point, the rewatch value is fucking abysmal. I watched it
It's like
twice in a week.
non-existent.
I watched it twice in a week, and I still didn't understand that it was supposed to be purgatory. I think the movie is terrible, but it holds a little value in the sense that the actors were good. It is kind of a thriller, so there's a sense of like suspense throughout the movie, and there's some jump scares and stuff like that. But if you're watching it to watch a good movie, you're not watching it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was going to give this movie a 3.
Oh wow.
So basically, like, there are so many just little things that could have been done to make any part of this movie better. And like, the fact is, like, we can just talk about it and figure it out between the three of us. Like, what could have made this scene more impactful? What could have done this? But these people who got a $25 million budget and 40 days to actually shoot it and had all these storyboards and everything else couldn't figure out just common sense stuff. Drives me absolutely nuts.
These millionaires who are educated in cinema couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Pussies.
I don't know. I'm never going to watch this again if I can help it.
Well, we got this one out of the way.
Well, we got to spin the wheel and figure out what year.
We do got to spin the wheel. So that's our thoughts on The Grey. Be sure to let us know what your thoughts are. Since we're leaving the Liam Neeson train once again, I'm sure we'll be back on it at some point down the line. But now, George is saying no.
God, I hope not.
The only other Liam Neeson movie I want to ever review is The Phantom Menace.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he's in Star Wars. I forgot about that.
Yes, he is. But
Arguably the greatest Jedi of all time.
I do like Qui-Gon Jinn.
He's arguably the greatest, and we can hop into that when we get to Star Wars. If we get to Star Wars.
But now it's come down to that time where we got to pick the year for the next movie we're going to be doing.
This is my favorite.
So let me pull up the wheel.
You fucking monkey.
Let me pull up the Wheel of Doom, and let's see what we're going to be working with. Here we go.
Come on, 2004.
1984.
Oh, hey.
1984.
I feel like we did that.
Did we do that?
I'm going to take a vote right now, guys. Do you want me to scrap the 80s?
I think we have done this. Was the never-ending story and all that.
I know the Terminator was in 1984.
Oh, then yeah, we did do this.
Yeah?
Dune.
All right. Didn't count. So DJ, spin that shit.
8 Mile.
2008.
I
I'll
remember.
work with that. All right.
This is the original Iron Man?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
All right. So the next episode of You Can't Beat the Classics will be a movie from the year 2008. All right. So let's get to the deciding part. See you guys next episode.
Later.
See ya.
Peace.